Marky British dual citizenship not going away. Not going away. Yesterday we learned in the Sunday Observer, confirmed later by us this morning, that Blue Dot did a poll on this controversial issue. And what did they find? 61% of Jamaicans, yes, 61%, 6 of every 10 Jamaican said, listen, the PNP president and opposition leader should renounce his British citizenship. That is sobering. And there are other sobering results from the Blue Dot poll this morning for Mr. Golding and his People's National Party. Yes? And the Blue Dot poll is the first measurement, scientific measurement of public sentiments on this issue since it erupted, yeah, at the behest of Mr. Golding. He was the one who made this erupt in the public square by his position, yeah, his personal position, not the People's National Party's position on dual citizenship, yeah. Mahira Stewart has more on that Blue Dot poll finding.
This was the PNP president's response recently as he reflected on whether he would be prepared to renounce his British citizenship.
Renunciation thing. I don't feel any rush because I'm lawfully in the parliament. I'm a Jamaican born citizen, born Jamaican citizen. I have a right to be in the parliament if the people elect me. And the people of South St. Andrew elected me. So I'm there to represent them in parliament. So I noticed one guy today rush and go, after he got outed on radio, rush go announce him renounce his thing. He wasn't born in Jamaica though, he was born in London apparently. Me no operate so, I'm not moving on any bummy basis. I'm meditating on this thing, saying my prayers on this thing, and I'm listening to what is happening. I want a proper dialogue and conversation in Jamaica about dual citizenship, about who we are, about the millions of Jamaicans who live outside of Jamaica, many of whom are dual citizens, and how we plan to engage with them and deal with them and treat them. And when we get through that debate, if the preponderance of opinion is that I should, as leader of the PNP, as leader of the opposition, as prime minister in waiting, shouldn't have a dual citizenship, then I will give it up. Because I intend to serve Jamaica to the best of my capacity. And I'll give it up. But I'm not rushing to go do it because 2 guys say I should or 3 guys say I go, you know? Because for every 2 or 3 that speak on radio, there are another 20 who talk to me off the air and tell me how they feel. So I have to be listening to everybody. I am just listening and watching. I have the form, the same little form that the guy, same sign. I have that form. I printed already.
Mr. Golding now has a definitive answer from Jamaicans.
If the preponderance of opinion is that I should, as leader of the PNP, as leader of the opposition, as prime minister in waiting, shouldn't have a dual citizenship, then I will give it up.
They want him to give up the British trappings and privileges. When the Blue Dot pollsters asked 1,020 Jamaicans if Mark Golding should renounce his British citizenship if he plans to be prime minister, 61% of respondents said yes.
If the preponderance of opinion is that I should, as leader of the PNP, as leader of the opposition, as prime minister in waiting, shouldn't have a dual citizenship, then I will give it up.
Only 29% of respondents were prepared to countenance Mr. Golding's bid for Jamaica House, while he maintains citizenship of a country that was once a colonial power. But it's not just a legal question that's facing the opposition leader. The dual citizenship saga has also complicated his political prospects. The Blue Dot pollsters found that 53% of respondents are now less likely to view the opposition leader as a potential prime minister of Jamaica owing to his divided loyalties.
If the preponderance of opinion is that I should, as leader of the PNP, as leader of the opposition, as prime minister in waiting, shouldn't have a dual citizenship, then I will give it up.
That's against the 31% of respondents who said the revelation of Golding's dual citizenship has made no impact on their perception of him as a future prime minister. Only 7% indicated that they were more likely to see him as a potential prime minister. There are also signs that the duality of Mr. Golding's citizenship is having some negative effect on how voters perceive the People's National Party. When asked whether all they have seen and heard recently changed their perception of the PNP, 31% said it had no change. The trouble for Mr. Golding is that 10% said it had somewhat negatively affected their perception of the PNP, and nearly 18% said it had very negatively affected their perception of the PNP. That combined negative perception stands at 28%. 14% had a combined positive perception of the PNP following the citizenship row. Now that Mr. Golding has an answer from the Jamaican people, the question on renunciation this week is sure to be, will he or won't he?
If the preponderance of opinion is that I should, as leader of the PNP, as leader of the opposition, as prime minister in waiting, shouldn't have a dual citizenship, then I will give it up.
The Blue Dot poll was conducted between May 22 and June 5. It has a margin of error of plus or minus 3.5%. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Mahiri. And the poll was conducted after this issue erupted on the doing of Mr. Golding. This is an own goal scored by Golding against Golding. Yes, own goal. The poll was done between May 22 and June 5. And there are several takeaways from it. You can choose. For me, the most significant takeaway is the response to the question. Considering the recent discussion about Mark Golding being a British citizen, does this make you more likely or less likely to see him as a potential Prime Minister of Jamaica? More than 53% said less likely. Less likely to see him as a potential Prime Minister.
If the preponderance of opinion is that I should, as leader of the PNP, as leader of the opposition, as prime minister in waiting, shouldn't have a dual citizenship, then I will give it up.
31%, yes, 31% said no change. It would not impact their view of him as a potential prime minister. Now, to me, that is the biggest takeaway, because Mark Golding was already having difficulty being accepted as a potential prime minister and alternative to Andrew Holness since he became PNP president, 3-4 years ago? Yes, he was having that problem. Now, this own goal is going to affect him badly. Just at the moment when he was beginning to close that gap between himself and Holness, he was closing that gap between Holness and himself in terms of acceptability, favorability. And he continues, after how many weeks now, to meditate, to listen. What is there to meditate and to listen about? If you want to be Prime Minister of Jamaica, you must have one allegiance to Jamaica. There's nothing to meditate about.
We never operate so. I'm not moving on any bummy basis. I'm meditating on this thing, saying my prayers on this thing, and I'm listening to what is happening.
There's absolutely nothing. Your meditation would seem to me, Mr. Golding, to be telling me that you really don't want to get up. For whatever reason, we don't know. Whatever reason we don't know, you don't want to give it up. So this poll, frankly, is not surprising. And the fact that PJ Patterson made his comments public last week in which he said, listen, Yeah? No, there are certain sensitive posts in government where if you want to accede to one of them, then there should be no doubt about your loyalty and your allegiance. It can't be split loyalties or dual citizenship.
I do have British citizenship as well. A Jamaican passport. As a child, I also had a British passport and so on, but I don't intend to maintain that passport, because I feel in the position I have, it was a convenient travel document in the past, but I think I can't be holding this position and maintaining that. So I do have British citizenship as well. When Jamaica is moving out of the King's Yard, we cannot have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of the yard. We will not support a phased approach to dealing with the matter of full decolonization, because the phased approach does not guarantee its attainment. It may never happen if we do it that way.
Which takes us to the issue of dual citizenship. While staying clear of the current debate over whether the opposition leader should renounce his British citizenship, Mr. Patterson would only say this:
no valid reason exists for maintaining the provisions pertaining to a Commonwealth citizen other than a citizen of Jamaica who is resident for at least 12 months to be eligible for parliamentary office. The qualifications must be based, in my view, on Jamaican citizenship.
During his tenure as Prime Minister, he says the issue of dual citizenship also arose. He gave the example of 2 appointments he had to make. But after it was disclosed they had dual citizenship, this is what he told them.
If you want to accept this position, because of its sensitivity, you have to renounce. Both, without hesitation, proceeded to renounce and were duly appointed to their positions.
Mr. Patterson is, however, of the view that Section 40 of the Constitution should not be confined to parliamentarians.
For example, the Chief of Staff. Otherwise, you're exposing the person to charges of treason. The Permanent Secretary and members of the Defense Board. I raise, without making any proposal, we have to look at questions of persons like the Chief Justice, like the President of the Court of Appeal, like our electoral commissioners.
Patterson made that clear, and I think Patterson is in sync with the popular view, as the poll is now clearly suggesting. What are you meditating about? What is it? Save and accept that your DNA is British. Your DNA is British. And it's fair to say that's what you don't want to walk away from. Well, if you don't want to walk away from that, then you shouldn't be Prime Minister of Jamaica. So you have a decision, and I think the time is passing, where you either renounce or resign. Don't hold the People's National Party hostage because of your own personal dilemma. You either renounce or you resign. But right now you're holding your party hostage. That's what he's doing to the PNP. Holding them hostage.